MSNBC reporting a Maryland grand jury has been now hearing evidence, what has been for weeks, but breaking tonight is we know about it. And they are building, apparently, a case that is against a Trump perceived enemy and yet one who worked for President Trump, longtime neoconservative foreign policy voice John Bolton. Now, the suggestion is they are close to getting where they, the Trump DOJ officials, want, and they're trying to cook up this case to get a grand jury indictment, and that could come as soon as next week. The case has sped up. Bolton, of course, was the former national security advisor to President Trump, a top U.S. official. And since leaving office, while he is not a lefty going to No Kings protests, he has referred to what he learned in that time and his view, based on the evidence, about what Donald Trump is doing. You could put him in a category of more of a Mike Pence than a James Comey, one who served loyally to Donald Trump for years and was, of course, a longtime Republican whose main offense, according to Donald Trump, is that he has referred to things that Trump is doing that are contrary to law or Bolton's view of sound policy. MSNBC reporting that the figure who is seen as Trump's retribution czar, Ed Martin, has been meeting with the acting U.S. attorney on the case. That itself is unusual. FBI agents did search Bolton's home in August. We know about that. That's been reported. And Trump, who has continued to vacillate between denying that he's in charge of these revenge prosecutions and then bragging or publicly suggesting that he can do whatever he wants. Well, here's what he said then.
No, I don't know about it. I saw it on television this morning. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer. But I feel that it's better this way.
That's the president's sort of public description, balancing what everyone knows, which is that he has been vowing these type of revenge prosecutions. But even Donald Trump also has understood and even learned in the first term about where the limits might be, and that you don't necessarily want to admit that you're building revenge political cases that turn on the people rather than the criminal evidence, if there is any. And if it seems like we're ending the week with more news about Donald Trump on a tear, that's because we are. If you're trying to keep it straight or you've been busy and not following every domino, just this week, the DOJ indicted the top law enforcement official in New York, Attorney General Letitia James, who had previously run a civil case, no threat of jail time there, but a civil enforcement action against Trump Org. So now the DOJ has taken formal legal steps using the criminal investigative powers it has against 6 people that Donald Trump perceives as foes. You have the indictments, you have the grand jury going forward on Bolton, you have a subpoena for another individual who did oversee a case against Trump, D.A. Willis. You have the charges, remember, against the New Jersey mayor, which were so weak they were dropped, that case never going to trial. And you have Democratic Congressman McIver, who we heard from on this very program this week. So it's adding up. James and Comey have said they are innocent, and this is no time to be scared.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding, all because I did my job.
There are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees.
Mr. Comey, who has proven controversial for a range of reasons, striking a note that now may be heard by other Trump allies or former allies like John Bolton, that when you face this kind of crackdown, this kind of alleged selective prosecution, that's one of the arguments they're making to try to get these cases tossed, you have to be strong, not fearful. And for those who think that the president might have stopped just at Comey or just at a Democrat in New York, well, tonight's reporting that he is moving quickly through his DOJ to go at someone who worked in the highest levels of the White House for Donald Trump shows that no one appears to be safe, and that may be exactly the message this president wants to send. Jason, I want to go to you first based on our understanding of what's happening, that this is more of a story about politics or politics infusing the DOJ to a degree that might be unlawful, rather than a traditional legal story, although Emily, I'm sure, will give us some legal analysis on the strength of these cases. Do you, I guess, Jason, agree with that premise? And what do you see here happening politically as Donald Trump is sending a message clearly across the bow, even to his own former aides, John Bolton, the longtime neocon Republican?
All right, I don't know why anybody should be surprised. I mean, Donald Trump has never been loyal to anyone. He has a list of people that he has taken advantage of, a list of people he's lied to. I mean, he did nothing when people were threatening to kill his vice president. So I don't know why anyone is surprised that a president who said that I'm going to go on revenge is going on revenge. I think the only saving grace here is that while Donald Trump and some of his acolytes, they think he's Tony Soprano, he's more like my cousin Vinny. Most of these cases don't work. They fall apart fairly quickly. He ends up looking foolish. But the threat of going after these people and making them have to spend money to defend themselves is part of how he's establishing the sort of authoritarian bully pulpit that he's been pushing for since he got back into office.
Let's put the president to the side for a moment, however he might feel about that. And just remember, John Bolton, who worked in the Bush administration and is a longtime conservative Republican, this is who he is. Take a look.
I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job. There really isn't any guiding principle that I was able to discern other than what's good for Donald Trump's reelection. What he was capable of was on a daily basis doing something more and more outrageous than he had done the day before, all to the same end of staying in power. I think when you challenge the Constitution itself the way Trump has done, that is un-American.
Do you agree with Mark Milley that Trump is a fascist?
You know, I don't think he's smart enough to have an ideology.
Mr. Bolton's criticisms have to do with what he learned about Donald Trump having worked for him. He himself is a longtime conservative. And so it would appear that is the fault line, not foreign policy, national security, the things he actually worked on with Trump. All Trump heard was that.
Right, all right. And here's the thing. As he pointed out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go to Jason and then Emily. That's my bad.
Yeah, the only criteria seems to be whoever is in Donald Trump's burn book that week. And clearly, whether you have problems with him politically or ideologically, I mean, the toughest thing Bolton said is this guy isn't smart enough to be a fascist. I mean, that's a pretty serious insult. But at the end of the day, whether it's Comey or Tish James or anyone else that he has threatened, Donald Trump doesn't care if that person has broken the law. Donald Trump doesn't care if that person has stood in the way of policy. If he just personally dislikes you, he's going to weaponize the entire government. And that is a danger for everyone, not just in his own party, but every American citizen.
Emily?
You know, one of the most striking features of the Trump administration so far has been how few Republicans have been willing to speak out on the record, right? I mean, almost no one in Congress has been willing to criticize Trump, except maybe about Jimmy Kimmel a little bit. And so Bolton stands out there as this former Trump official who's willing to go on television and say these critical things. How better to send a message that this is a risky thing to do than to go to a grand jury and ask for an indictment?
Yeah. Emily, this is what Bolton said when it came up that these threats were looming.
You're obviously on his enemies list, at least Kash Patel's enemies list. Are you worried that they're going to come after you in some way? I mean, he's hinted at it before.
Well, I think he's already come after me and several others in withdrawing the protection that we had for from the Iranians for the attack on Qasem Soleimani. So I think, and I said in the new forward to the paperback edition of my book, I think it is a retribution presidency.
Emily?
Right. And Bolton is a good vehicle for sending a message to other Republicans about the problem of being on this enemies list, which, you know, it looks like the Justice Department is kind of ticking through. We should also say that when Bolton's home was searched, there were some reports from the Biden Justice Department or former officials that they had also been looking at this question of whether Bolton had classified information. So, you know, it's possible there will be more to this case. We don't know yet. But you look at how flimsy and weak the evidence appears to be against Letitia James and James Comey, And there is, a lot to wonder about here. In those cases, we know that prosecutors who were instructed to investigate, basically told it would be really good for them to find something, they passed on those cases. Former acting U.S. Attorney in Virginia, Eric Siebert, he was forced to resign rather than go ahead with those prosecutions. So those cases, it just seems really stark what we know about them. I think it's a little less clear at this point about the case against Bolton. And obviously, if there is an indictment from the grand jury, we'll know a little bit more.
We'll look at the faces, as you mentioned, Emily, because you're saying there's the larger pattern. Any individual case can be sort of debated, but when you see all these up, you have this strong pattern. As I mentioned, the case against the mayor was so weak it fell apart, but they wanted to charge it. And in the still pending McIver case, the video evidence shows federal officials saying, turn off your body cameras, which is suspicious. They didn't want a record. And this comes at the order of the deputy attorney general themselves, who was a former Trump defense attorney. All of that is bad for those cases. What you're saying with Bolton, lower left grand jury there, for folks looking at all the cases, Emily, is that apart from this pattern, if they have this kind of evidence and these documents cases come down to where the classified material is, you're saying that they might have, separate from the pattern, some more evidence to go on. I mean, Emily, folks remember the president himself was previously brought up on a documents case, although there was a lot of obstruction evidence and evidence that he clearly knew he had him and wouldn't give him back. But you're saying if the right documents are there, that strengthens the DOJ's hand?
I mean, I'm speculating because we don't know yet. And I find the speculating to be frustrating because also we're sort of focusing on what Trump wants us to focus on, which is whether there's any wrongdoing here from John Bolton, as opposed to this pattern in the Justice Department. We are obviously also talking about that. But I find this part of the process frustrating because people get accused and then we spend time sifting through the accusations. We're supposed to do that. But in the end, if the cases fall apart, then all of that is wounding to their reputations. No good reason.